science test. Put your last name here, first name here. Science section 2, 3, 5, or 6. An organism that can make its own food is a producer, consumer, decomposer. An organism that obtains energy by feeding on other organisms is a producer, consumer, decomposer. An organism that breaks down larger chemicals from dead organisms and returns them to the soil, air, or water is a producer, consumer, decomposer. What type of consumer eats only plants? Herbivore, omnivore, carnivore. What type of consumer eats only other animals or insects? Herbivore, carnivore, omnivore. What type of consumer eats both plants and animals? Omnivore, carnivore, herbivore. What type of consumer feeds on the bodies of dead organisms? Scavenger, herbivore, carnivore. What do the arrows indicate in a food web? Travel patterns of animals, flow of energy, eating and sleeping patterns. A diagram that shows the amount of energy that moves from one energy level to another in a food web is a food web, food chain, energy pyramid. The rabbit and mouse in the diagram are considered primary consumers, secondary consumers, or tertiary consumers. At each level in an energy pyramid, there is less energy than at the level below. Where is the most energy available? At the primary consumer level, at the producer level, at the tertiary level. All the living and non-living things that interact in a particular area is a pond, ecosystem, ecologist. The hawk in the diagram would be considered a primary consumer, secondary consumer, or tertiary consumer. What are the living parts of an ecosystem? Biotic factors, ecofactors, abiotic factors. Which of the following is not an abiotic factor? Plant, air, temperature. What is a group of organisms that are physically similar and reproduce with each other to produce fertile offspring? Species, population, community. What is the place where an organism lives and provides the things an organism needs? Species, ecosystem, habitat. Ecosystems provide natural resources that can be used to create synthetic materials that humans need to survive. Which of the following is not a natural resource? Fresh water, plants that can be used to make medicines, or plastic? What refers to the variety of species found on Earth's terrestrial and oceanic ecosystems? Biodiversity, interdependence, limiting factor. When a species depends on another species to survive or they depend on each other, this creates interdependence, biodiversity, limiting factors. What are environmental conditions that limit growth, distribution, or population in an ecosystem? Interdependence, biodiversity, limiting factors. One way to tell how healthy an ecosystem can be is to take the temperature, to measure biodiversity, or to sample different organisms. What is an interaction that harms one species and benefits the other? Host-parasite. Mutualism, predation, parasitism. What is an interaction when one species stalks, kills, and eats another, or simply eats another when finding it? Commensalism, predation, parasitism. Bees and flowers depend on each other. Bees make honey for their hives from flowers, and flowers need bees to pollinate. This is a type of symbiosis, predation, or commensalism. Mealworms are not actually worms. They are the what stage of the darkling beetle? Egg, pupa, larva. Mealworms are considered producers, consumers, or decomposers. A what beetle will emerge from the pupa of a mealworm? Larva, pupa, or adult? Larva, adult, egg. As a mealworm grows, it sheds its outer shell. This is called a shedding period, molt, or metamorphosis.